Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm low today.
Are you low?
Not mentally, just vocally.
The sexy voice has come out.
Exactly, yeah. I'm a real bass today in the morning kind of voice.
Yeah. So you launched.
I did, yeah. I launched. I'm feeling good. There was a moment like late Saturday, early Sunday where I was like, all the pieces are there. Like there are no unknowns left. Like this is actually going to happen. And it felt great.
So did you have to like stay up super late the night before, or did you finish at a reasonable hour and were able to just...
There was some time pressure because I went into so I launched on a Monday and I went into the weekend with some things to do still. I estimated all the time for all the things that were left on my to-do list. And I was like, this actually seems pretty reasonable. I think I'll be okay. And so I spent Saturday day working. But after that, I was basically set, and just there were a couple small items left to finish up on Sunday, and yeah, everything actually and it worked. I had some like last minute editing to do because when I did a review of everything, I discovered I had just forgotten to edit the end of one of the videos. I added the video intros that Jack McDade and his people made for me. Got the notes on the repositories. Got things set up with Gumroad, so I'm using Gumroad for fulfillment. That's been great, by the way. I'm using this option where you drop in like a line of JavaScript and a URL, and they pop up a little hover over thing, and it works great. There was a moment I remember like thinking about, should I just build my own checkout, having built a bunch of these checkouts? And I was like, let's not. And it's been nice because like people have been like, oh, can I get this thing on my invoice? And I'm like, yeah, Gumroad will definitely do that for you.
Yeah.
And then, or like, some people have emailed me about like nonprofit discounts or things like that. And I'm like, sure, here's a coupon. And I don't have to write the code to take the coupon and things like that.
Yeah, that was a good decision.
Yeah, I feel very happy about that. That was no regrets there. And by the way, so SSL these days on Heroku has become the easiest thing ever. And I'm so happy about it. That was one of my big unknowns where I was like, oh man, I hope this doesn't suck, because I've had the process of like getting an SSL cert and getting it installed and working correctly has taken me a while in the past, because sometimes you need to fiddle around with DNS, or most of the time, I guess. And so it's like waiting for DNS to propagate to check if it worked and all that. They're now using Let's Encrypt. So it's free and they do everything for you. It was literally one shell command.
Wow, that's really nice. I remember the last time I set it up, I think it was still an upcharge. Like you had to pay extra for it. You maybe had to go out and buy a cert somewhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm used to doing.
Yeah.
And like it was always the dodgiest website, or like just like, and now we're going to email you. Like it was, and they would always want to do a verification that you own the domain. So they would email the admin contact, which inevitably I was not getting the email for. And it was just always this like multi-step process of administration that sucked.
Yeah. Well, good for them.
Heroku certs add, and it was like done.
Sweet.
You're now encrypted. And I just refreshed the page. It's like HTTPS. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're living in the future, folks.
We are, yeah. Yeah, so that was good. Basically, everything was set up as of Sunday. And then Monday morning, I wrote up the email to like, hey, it's going. Here it is, email. Which was very short and sweet. It was just kind of like, hey, it's live. I'm really psyched. You should check it out. Here's the link to the sales site. And if you have questions, let me know. Other than that, having been burned on email blasts before, I did a partial send. So there were like 900 something people on the launch list Monday morning. And I sent out the first round to like 100 people just to like make sure everything works. Like the link is correct. And no one says like, hey, you totally forgot this major thing. So I did that and waited like a couple hours, and like sales started coming in and no one was having questions, and people were like, congrats, looks good, I'm excited. And so I was like, okay. And so I pulled the trigger on the rest of the list, and went well.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how do your vital metrics look on that email? Is it like, was it a solid open rate, click-through rate?
That's a good question. I didn't even check that after the fact. Let me pull it up. Open rate was 72%.
Oh, geez. That's great.
Yeah. And the click-through is 48%.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Those are stellar metrics.
Nice.
Yeah.
0.8 unsubscribe. So some people were like, you know what? I've just had enough.
Never mind.
Right, exactly. It's live. They're like, you know what? Screw you. I don't want to hear from you again. My hope is that person bought it and then unsubscribed. It's like, don't email me ever again. I bought your thing, but I don't want to hear from you.
Right.
I guess it's a couple people, but whatever. That's okay.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about numbers?
Yeah. Let's hear them.
Yeah. haven't had numbers to share in so long. This is exciting.
Yeah.
So the course launched Monday morning. This is Thursday morning, and I'm at just under 18,000 in sales.
Very nice.
So 143 total purchases. So on the pricing, I decided to do, can't remember the name, but I read this interesting post, which is like, there's like the yes and yes pricing or something like this, where it's like one price and then like a little bit more for kind of a lot more. And the idea is to get people just choosing which tier versus, and like making one tier obviously look attractive versus, which tier, like, should I buy this at all? And so I launched with $79.99 for the pricing. So discounted $20 on the base tier, which is just the videos. And then the top tier was discounted from $149 for the videos plus notes plus code. Almost everyone has purchased the top tier. The top tier has gotten like 16,000 of the sales. So it's almost all of it. People definitely pick the top one.
Cool. Did you end up launching with any team-based tiers, or are they all kind of just individual licenses?
I did launch with team-based tiers. So in the top tier, there are team purchases. So like $299 for 5 people and $399 for 10 people or something. Like I added some bulk purchasing up there. And so that has actually brought up the average sale price a fair amount. Like the actual average revenue per person is $126. So it worked to bring that price up a bit. Had someone buy a $1,000 package for their team, which is pretty cool. Conversion rate have pretty high actually on that from the thing. Like, so there's been 465 views of the packages and 124 sales that Gumroad is well, no, that's not true. Total aggregate 143 sales, but of the ones that referred from my site, the conversion rate is 27% right now.
Okay.
So yeah,
that seems pretty decent. Yeah. You said, is it 400 and something total views of all the packages? Is that in aggregate or just
total views of? So I'm not sure exactly what Gumroad counts as a view, because like their JavaScript is on my page. Like, is that a page load, or is it if someone clicks the like show me the product thing? I don't actually know.
Got it.
But they say 533 views.
Okay. So you had 900 on your list, and you had 70% open, which is like,
that's
over that
630.
So there's still probably some nudging to happen, with your continued follow-up emails and such.
Totally, yeah. I had already sent some other emails. So one I sent was a follow-up to the launch list, which was 2 days later saying, I put up one of the whole videos on as a sample, which I haven't done yet, and said, hey, here's a sample of an entire video, and just kind of like another poke, and that definitely caused another like burst of sales. And I also emailed my personal newsletter and just said, hey, I haven't talked about this much here, but this thing's going on. If you're interested, check it out. And that works too. Turns out emailing large groups of people that have asked to hear from you works really well.
Yeah, email still works. It is not dead, as they say.
Definitely not. The feedback, I haven't seen much feedback on the course itself yet. I think because it just got going. But the early feedback that I have gotten from people has been positive, which is really nice to see. But also just a lot of the Ruby community is really supportive, it feels like to me. A lot of people have said, I've learned a lot from you over the years, therefore I'll be buying this for sure kind of thing. And it's almost like I appreciate the stuff you've done, so I'm going to support you. And that's such an awesome mentality.
Yeah. And I think it speaks to the value of like giving back to a community over time. I mean, this stuff doesn't happen overnight, and it's one of those tricky things. It's hard to educate someone who's just starting out and wanting to say like, I want to launch a course on Rails someday. And you can't build community and following and trust overnight, but that's the kind of thing that comes from just putting in the work over the years and being a good citizen of the community that you're in. And it's something like, there's no overnight solution to that. You just kind of gotta put in the work, and you've
definitely
done that.
Yeah. And like just having done a lot of, free type teaching gigs in the past, I think is good. Like a lot of people say, like, I learned a lot from your talks, like all these conference talks that end up for free on YouTube or whatnot. Not directly monetizable, I guess, but the goodwill over time can eventually pay off pretty nicely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So 2 questions for you. What worked really well and what didn't work in your launch, or what would you do differently?
I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what my metrics are for having worked well, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I'm happy with the sales number. So like yesterday's sales were 5,000. I imagine today will drop off a lot because I'm probably not going to email any of those lists today. So I have one more thing that I'm like, one more major bump I expect is where like I announce the discount is ending. And so I expect another bump there. So I figured this will end around 25K, maybe somewhere in there, like during the launch period. And then, a slow trickle after that, hopefully. That to me is success. Like that's pretty awesome. If I had more experience and more subscribers and more all this stuff, I'm sure I could do better, and other people have. But it feels good to me. There's no A/B test for me right now, so it's like what worked particularly well. I don't know. It seems to have worked, so it could have been better, could have been worse.
Yeah, it's probably too early to tell like what your overall conversion rate's going to be from your list and some of those other things. So maybe I'll have a more complete picture later on. Did you have like a specific goal in mind, or was it just kind of like you'll know it when you do it if you're satisfied with the result?
I sort of did, but it was basically based on other people's blog posts of, hey, I launched this thing and it made this much money. I was expecting about this number because I was sort of figuring maybe I'll convert 20 to 30% of the list into purchasers. And we're hovering around that right now. And so I figured the numbers would be right around here. The price tier seemed to have worked really well. But it probably won't surprise you, but my inclination on pricing is usually to push it up pretty aggressively. But on this, I kind of shot the other way, and I said like $100 feels pretty purchasable for most people that are developers. Maybe not true for people in other countries and such, and like nonprofits and whatnot. But that felt like a kind of not quite impulse purchase, but close, I guess. And I wanted it to feel like that, where it's like Ben's a good guy. This course looks good. It's $100. That's not that much. Yeah, I'll just pull the trigger, and maybe even just because I like him and think he's a good guy. I wanted to be in that range as opposed to like $200 or $150. Well, how many videos are in the course, and how many hours are they, and what am I doing this weekend? And so I think that worked well, but again, there's no I have no B test to confirm against.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. Is you got a lot of this is kind of gut feel and conversations with people who have done it before, which it sounds like you've talked a fair amount to Adam, right? Who's launched similar types of courses and stuff, and kind of that's all you can do, So
yeah, I'm just kind of playing it by ear. I have some experience with like launching stuff and teaching Ruby and things like that, but doing it fully on my own was definitely a new experience. But it seems to have gone pretty well. Like we hit the deadline that I wanted to hit, and so far there've been no catastrophes. I had one person ask for a refund, but other than that, so far so good.
Cool. So you have your Ruby meetup tour, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I'm going on like the Ruby on Rails podcast next week, which I think will be nicely timed. Yeah, that's basically the next thing on my list is get my abstract together, like get a talk pitch together for a talk that will work well to promote the course, and then get on some calendars. Because I'm currently not on, I don't think I have any other speaking gigs scheduled right now. So yeah, so it's basically like applying to different large-scale meetups and touring around in November.
Yeah, doing hand-to-hand combat.
That's right. Selling on the road.
Yep.
Pack my traveling salesman suitcase and go.
The Ben Orenstein Roadshow.
Yep. There's that. Also, I discovered something interesting, which is over time, accidentally, I have like 900 YouTube subscribers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, without even really paying attention to it. Like I turned off the notifications about new subscribers at one point, and just like happened to bump into that the other day. And I was like, oh, there are about as many people subscribed to me on YouTube as on my launch list. So I'm going to make a video of like, hey, I made a course, like just like actually my face talking and saying things to people.
Yeah.
And point people that way, because I don't have a way of emailing those people, but I can make a video and talk to them.
Right. What do you have on YouTube? Is it like conference talks and stuff you've given?
It's not much. I did put the series, like, so all my samples are on YouTube. So I did create a playlist of like refactoring Rails samples, kind of random stuff. I guess I did. Oh yeah, like so there were some things like 6 years ago where I was doing some walkthrough of Rails code and some Vim tips and things like that. So that probably got it started. Other than that, it's just been the latest refactoring Rails samples. So I think that's what drove most of those numbers. Yeah. Nice.
Well, leverage that.
Okay. If I must. But yeah, I gave I gave 2 talks a few weeks ago, and in both of them I finally did something that I wish I'd done years ago, which is include a pitch for my newsletter to people. So never again will I give a talk and not do that. all this great material out there that just sort of barely points to me in loose ways. Twitter, basically. I'm interested in following up with people that purchased and just seeing like what the experience of the course is like, and maybe if there are things to like supplement it, or like some sort of video call we could do or something. Like I want to make sure that people that actually bought it and downloaded it and tried to learn from it had good results. So I can't find the number right now for some reason, but I noticed that of the purchasers, there was something like half of them downloaded the videos and the half hadn't yet.
Oh.
And so it might be that people are like, waiting to do it, or Gumroad also has like a just send this right to my Dropbox option. So it could be that they don't count people doing that, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of developers with Dropbox. But I've also just anecdotally heard from other people, like Brendan Den and whatnot, that like people will buy info products and then just like they just drop them in a directory, and then they're like, I'll get to this later.
Guilty. Oh, like I bought Maybe Haskell. I think you recommended that
Yep.
the Thoughtbot book, right? Mm-hmm. And I have this books. I have like this ebooks and something folder in Dropbox that I just drop them in, and then I think I threw a Trello card like, read this book.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I have this fantasy of doing like a retreat where I just like get together like 10 different things I've been meaning to read or learn or whatever, and just do them all at once.
Yeah.
Just blitz it.
I know that's like something I should probably develop a habit for, of like daily reading or, daily content consumption of some kind. It's one of those aspirational things. I just need to form the habit,
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. So am I forgetting to cover anything from this experience?
I mean, I think it's a pretty good summary. Off to a good start. Have you nailed down a timeline of your discount window?
I have not.
Okay.
So like I said last time, my plan is basically as once sales slow down enough, to just announce it then.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like it's early in the day now, so I'm not sure what the numbers are going to look like, but I expect them to trail off pretty aggressively, like today, especially over the weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised if early next week is when it happened. So it's been a while since I've had a product for sale. It's been years now, actually, and it's pretty awesome. Like getting an email of like you just made a sale while you were doing another thing is maybe the coolest thing ever.
It is, yeah. After I launched CodeTree, every sign up would send an email directly to my phone, like email address just signed up, so I could just keep an eye on, someone from some company I recognize signed up and want to immediately follow up on them or something. Every time a purchase came through or money was charged, I had like emails coming directly to me. And it's not something that you want to keep going forever because it could be a distraction, but for me, that's like exactly what I needed as like the reward for all the hard work. It's like I want to see every dollar that gets charged come into my inbox.
Yep, that's how I'm feeling right now. It's a nice feeling too when you turn it off. Like that's also I've arrived.
Right. Yeah. A friend of mine even had this app that would make like a cash register sound every time someone bought. It's like ching.
That's cool. Yeah. I like that a lot too. Yeah, I went to dinner the other day, paid the bill, and was looking at the check. I was like, okay, that was $71. And then I pulled up my phone. It was like, I sold $100 with a screencast as I sat here. Cool.
Boom. Positive ROI.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So what's new in your world?
Well, I teased something last week about a project that we're starting, and we have a position posted for a front-end engineer. And I can actually mention what the project is because it's been publicly disclosed. So we are setting out to build a visual email editor in Drip. We've resisted building this for a long time, mostly because studies will show that emails that look like plain text emails are most likely to be engaged with because they just look like, a person opened up their email client and wrote you an email. And I think they've shown that the more graphically designed an email looks, the more our brains are trained to just think this is marketing email. I'm going to skim it or skip it altogether, right? And with our core audience, the audience we began with Drip, which is like self-service SaaS companies and people selling ebooks or selling courses online and things like that. That kind of communication is probably best served with plain text looking emails. So it was kind of a best practice and was also an easier engineering task because we could just offer a very simple editor. And so it was kind of a win-win on both fronts. But as Drip has expanded into, different markets, more people selling things online. People want to be able to, lay out little grids of products or, just produce more polished looking marketing emails. Kind of the demand has grown for this feature to the point where, feels like a high priority enough thing to break ground on. So our designer has been working on some mock-ups in HTML actually, so they're kind of interactive, and we're hammering out like the finer details of how we can execute better on this than any other editor out there. So we've done a lot of like analyzing the landscape, all the email editors that probably most people would be familiar with who have used, email marketing tools in the past, and looked at what works well in those and what doesn't work well. And I think we have some really great ideas on how to put our own drip flair on it and make it just a little bit more usable and a little more user-friendly. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
When you make something that feels like it's a signature of your company, do you call it Drippy?
We should. Drippy's actually the name of our mascot.
Oh, really?
Yes. And if you've seen a loading screen in Drip, you've probably seen Drippy and his various
emotions.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know. Yeah, Drippy or Drip-like. I don't know.
Sure. That's cool. I mean, starting a fresh project like that is so fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And it's like, it feels similar to when we endeavored to build workflows, and we kind of went through the same exercise of like, there are a few other tools like this on the market today, and there's obvious shortcomings that we've observed and just heard from users in the space. And so we're kind of taking a similar approach where, we're building out prototypes of this, and we're gonna show it to folks. We're gonna get some feedback and find out, what are they trying to accomplish? What do they not need? It's always a question of like, how can we build a minimum amount, not necessarily to make it less featureful, but just like, the less features you have built into the tool, the more user friendly it's going to be. The less clutter. I'm going to want a wall of checkboxes and configurability, just the minimum amount that people need. And ideally, it would be difficult to make a bad looking email with this tool. And that's kind of what we're going for. Make it really hard to make a crappy looking email.
That sounds legit. Are you think going to use Elm for this?
I think Elm is the perfect tool for this. So I'm still championing that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I've started playing around a little bit with it. I'm going to try not to be the primary contributor on this, because I really want my team to kind of spearhead it and run with it. But I'm going to definitely check out that video that you mentioned about, was it from Richard Feldman or someone from the Elm community talking about
teaching Elms to beginners?
Yep.
So I watched that, by the way. It is good.
Cool.
It's legit.
Yeah. And so, I'll throw this out there again. If you want to do some Elm almost full time, we do have a position open. We're looking in Minneapolis first, but it's a cool city. If you want to relocate, we'd love to have you. So
nice. Yeah. I'm just making myself a note to make sure to promote this episode /job when it goes out, because I think there's a lot of demand for Elm positions. So if you posted that to the Elm, I'm sure there are Elm job board type things at this point that would be worth getting on.
Yeah, for sure. I
had a thought the other day.
Mm-hmm. As you do.
Yes. Wow. Still a little loopy. It was sort of a tongue-in-cheek tweet joke that I didn't tweet. It was an amazing setup. Was like, we are Modernizer LLC. We come in and we rewrite a portion of your boring app in some sexy new technology so that you can recruit good engineers to work on this project to your otherwise boring company.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I kind of agree. I think it's not insane.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're a big Java shop? Cool. We're going to come in and we'll write a small Clojure service for you, and then you can recruit a bunch of Clojure nerds. Yeah. Or, Elm, like we'll write some JavaScript in Elm or whatever.
Yeah. The tech industry is, I think, pretty unique in that we are so particular about the tools we like, and there's so much demand for good engineering talent that like you can afford to be super particular about, I like this tech stack and I don't like this tech stack. I mean, it's kind of an elite industry problem, I would say, that like, but it's just kind of the nature of where we are, where there's just, there's so many companies and there's so much
Yeah, I honestly think this is a competitive edge that's not taken advantage of often enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Of like, it's like, oh, we started a new startup and we're using Rails. Like, cool. Like you're going to compete with everybody for those Rails engineers. And I think most people just think like, oh, well, that we need to make sure there are lots of engineers available in the technology we choose. And I think that's just not. That's a very logical way to think about it, and also wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it's that, as I found more and more, it's less about what tech stack someone has been doing for a long time and more about what they're on fire to work on,
100%. Yep.
And I've seen like we've had some folks actually inside the building move on to the Drip team recently, onto our platform team because, they're working on technologies that they've had experience with and they can do it and it's fine, but they're not jazzed about it. And I've seen like the light in their eye, the twinkle in their eyes as they're like talking through problems with working on, using the technologies that they really love. And that's when you're going to get the most productivity and the greatest utilization of your team is when they're doing things that they're really on fire for.
Totally. And that excitement I think is actually justified. I think it is a little bit that we're spoiled. That's definitely a factor, but also if you want to stay in this industry for a while and be in demand, you have to keep learning those new skills. Like if you're someone that wants to just focus on one forever, you can probably actually make a career of that. Like you can still go write COBOL if you want. But if you like being cutting edge and you like working on the newest things and being in demand continuously, you have to keep your skills up to date. And so like it's not just like choosing to go work on new technology keeps you future-proofed in a way.
Right. And that's kind of the contract that you enter with your employees is like you hire them and they're going to build great software for you as the company, you being the company. And then in exchange, they're going to get to continue advancing their skill sets and, their resume, if they're concerned about resume building or whatever they're looking to get out of it. That's kind of the exchange. Right. And so when they're working on interesting new technology that's going to stick around, not just the latest hotness of JS frameworks, but things like Elm that I think are here to stay. That's an opportunity for someone to gain mastery over that tool set, and they can take that with them anywhere, So I'm excited. I think this is going to be a great use of Elm. Not that I've been looking for an excuse to use it, but it certainly.
But you have.
It certainly, yeah. I'll say I have a little bit, and it just happened to align with business goals. So I'm pleased.
I'm sure you would not do something irresponsible just to use Elm.
Oh, of course not.
That does not seem like you at all. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear what this is like, assuming that you do use Elm, and I'm really looking forward to those updates because I have written a decent amount of Elm at this point, but never like this would be at least an order of magnitude anything larger than anything I've written, and in anger with deadlines, when money is being spent and all that. So I'm really curious how it goes. Yeah,
me too. And I will admit it's a little bit of an unknown territory, but I'm relying on the fact that there are a number of companies out there saying we have 100,000 plus lines of Elm code in production and still love it after 2 or 3 years. And it's kind of metrics like that. Like they don't mean much, but what they really signal to me is that companies have been using it for a while, with a large mature code base, and they haven't regretted the decision. So that's a good sign, at least, even though there are very few companies who have actually gone that far with it, but I'm trusting those people's.
As another data point for you, I've been talking to some thoughtbotters recently who have been using Elm on client projects to continued great success.
Nice.
So more real world use that people are happy about.
Yeah.
So I think you're on the right path.
Yeah, I'd love to use it too in like other parts of Drip. I think this is going to be a good first use of it, and then gradually, maybe more parts of it can. I know that's kind of the traditional path folks seem to take. Is like obviously you never want to rewrite your entire JavaScript code base, but you can just kind of start working Elm into the stack gradually.
Yep.
So
totally.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about the future, and I am sorely tempted to make some sort of Elm product, like Elm, probably educational product. I think it's just like I really loved giving that talk and having people come up and be like, "I'm so pumped about Elm now, I have to try it." And I was like, "Yes, you do have to try it."
Yeah,
like I enjoy getting excited about a thing and then making other people excited.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about what a good fit might be for that.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what your goals are on like, continuing to produce educational content, I think there is an opportunity to be like, I don't know if there's someone who is the Ryan Bates of the Elm community, or whatever the analogy is, and I think there's like an opportunity for someone to be like the primary source of ramping up to Elm. Like I don't think someone has stepped up quite in the Ryan Bates fashion for Elm. So
yeah, it doesn't quite feel that way either. I know like Richard Feldman is kind of like the figurehead in a way, as like a big force in that field, and he has been doing a lot of talks and he's writing a book. But as far as like online content, I'm not sure how much there is. I haven't found that much, to be honest. Pragmatic Programmers has a course. Daily Drip has some content there, but yeah, I agree. And that's the nice thing about new fields, right? Like Ruby is, I have an audience in the Ruby world and trust built up there and all that, and there are a lot of people there, but there's also like tons of competition and whatnot.
Sure. Yep.
So it's fun to me to be in like more fertile territory.
Yeah. And it's a little bit of a bet. Like you would be betting that it's going to expand over time and then it will pay off eventually.
Definitely. And I'm willing to make a bet there. I'm comfortable with this bet.
Mm-hmm. I know there are other competitors to Elm. Like what is it? PureScript is like. For me, it seems like people still like Elm because it's a bit more pragmatic. Is that kind of your take?
I don't know if I would use the word pragmatic.
Yeah.
I think there are a bunch of reasons people like it, but I think one of the big benefits is that it's holistic. Like you opt into Elm and then you get you get an ecosystem of tools. Whereas you're like, okay, we're going to do React. Okay, now what are you going to use for the data? Like, what are you going to use for this? What are you going to use for that? And you end up sort of cobbling together 7 different tools to make your stuff work. Whereas with Elm, you're like, okay, we are going to use Elm. And then you're basically done with decisions in a certain sense in terms of like which pieces go together.
That was super attractive to me when I was thinking about like, I kind of play around on the side with Elixir, right? And I've been building some stuff in Elixir and using some GraphQL and using some Elm. And it was so nice to just know like, oh, the Elm architecture, it's basically like a framework within a language. Awesome. This is great. Like I don't need.
Yeah. Yep. And I haven't used PureScript, TypeScript. What do you say, TypeScript?
I think it's PureScript is the functional. Yeah, is like a
gotcha
similar thing.
Yeah, I haven't used it. Although if it has a really good type system and like a helpful compiler, then that's pretty awesome. Like that's a big point in its favor. But I don't know if you. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to compete with how friendly Elm is,
right,
in terms of errors and helpful type things and all that.
Yeah, and I think that my sense is like that's where Elm gets its edge. Is like it has perhaps a more opinionated language. I'm not speaking from a position of knowing much about PureScript, so that's my caveat. But like it seems like Evan is pretty dang opinionated in a good way about what goes into Elm, and he's been willing to ditch some of the elements of functional in the name of being easy to use and easy to get ramped up and stuff. So
yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Definitely. That's another big one in their favor. It's like, I think the steward / creator is making really awesome decisions.
Yep. One other small plug too is I've been trying out. So a couple of my coworkers were trying out a new editor, and it's actually Microsoft's Visual Studio Code editor. I
saw you tweet about that.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool because I think it brings in. It's very similar to Atom in its approach. Like it's Atom and Sublime Text and all these kind of text editors with an ecosystem of nice plugins. I was hacking around on some Elm in there, and the inline compiler feedback is really cool. So when you save a file, you install the Elm plugin or whatever into the editor, then you save a file, and if there's compilation errors, you get the little squiggly underlines on the code, and you just hover over it, and it gives you the full Elm compiler error message. So rather than kind of flipping between console and code and then trying to align, look at line numbers and all that kind of stuff, it's just kind of all deeply integrated. And I found myself a bit more productive than I was using Atom with Elm stuff. So yeah, it seems like a pretty cool thing. Check it out. I think it does have like Vim plugins and stuff too, so you can it can behave like Vim. So I haven't done the Vim plugin on it, but if I do want to learn the Vim ways, I may still be able to have the nice, a little bit more IDE-like functionality plus Vim. So I don't know. I feel like that could be cool.
Yeah, I think there are probably some nice options out there, like depending on how good your Vim emulation is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but if you want the basic Vim stuff, you might be able to get it in a different editor and still have, get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
So Microsoft sponsored this week's show.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually it's open source, which is like, it truly is a new era for Microsoft. I think it's
that's
it's
crazy.
no longer Ballmer's Microsoft. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, it seems like a good place to stop.
Yeah, I think so. And congrats again, man, on launching. It's a big milestone. So cheers to that.
Thank you. It feels great to have shipped it.
Yeah.
Everything after like now is kind of gravy in a way, where it's like there's things I want to do and ideas I have, but it's mostly kind of like, okay, the shipping has happened, and now it's kind of like some interesting projects on top of it.
Yeah, and it's a one-time sale product, which means that you don't, when you launch a SaaS, it's like the real work begins after launch day. But this is one of those things where I think you can feel pretty nice that like you can continue marketing it and promoting it and all that, but a lot of the hard work truly is done, which must feel nice.
It does, and a sale rolled in while we were talking.
Excellent. Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Oh, what more could you want?
Yep.
All right. If you'd like to access the show notes for this episode, you can go to artofproductpodcast.com, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.